Hi everyone, welcome to Total Boss TV, and I'm your host Satia Yi. Today we're going to be sharing a third part and the conclusion of this COVID health and safety protection that everybody should be really aware of, especially if you have employees that are working and require a lot of information around this. So I have my guest, Kathryn, my friend, who has been helping the hospital tremendously. Thank you so much for that. And her expertise is also in the respiratory category when it comes to this entire health and safety thing, with the COVID being a respiratory disease. So thank you for having us, for coming into here, Kathryn.
Don't steal my line, Satia. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, Satia. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know you've been really busy with the hospital, so I was able to squeeze you in some way, somehow during this time, because I know a lot of people are watching want to have the right information. There's so much misinformation out there, and there's also very valuable information out there. So we're going to dive right into it. Now, one of the things I wanted to know, and this might be also in place with the people who are working, for example, at the hospital. So let's just share this with me. So the people who are working at the hospital, once they leave, when they go home, what happens to their clothes? Is it something like, okay, you got to take everything off, wash them? Does that include your socks? I heard some stories where that's required. What about people who are consumers like us? Let's just say they just happen to go to the grocery store and then they come back. Is that something that is recommended as well?
Well, what they're doing at the hospital is that they're wearing hospital-issued scrubs, and then when they leave at the end of the day, they're leaving the scrubs there and going home in their street clothes.
Okay.
So I would say in terms of going out to the grocery store, it's not necessary to keep your own scrubs and go to that extent. So just wash your clothes regularly, wash yourself regularly, your whole self, not just your hands, and continue to brush and floss your teeth and wash your hair and stuff like that. And wash your clothes regularly. Wash the things that you bring home from the grocery store. Maybe not the loaf of bread, but definitely the fruit and veg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things also is, one of the questions we got is, why am I being told to avoid touching my face? I'm guessing that's the only way it can go in, or could it go in different ways?
Most of the ways that viruses make it into our bodies is somewhere on the face. So if you're sticking your finger in your nose, it can go in your nose. You rub your eyes, it can go in your eyes and in your mouth. So if you're touching your face, then you're spreading whatever's on your hands on your face. It could get rubbed into your eyes. And these are things that a lot of times we do unconsciously. Like, ow, my eye is itchy, so I'm going to rub it. Or scratch something here, scratch something there. And we don't even realize we're doing it sometimes. So it's because that there are a few different ways in for the virus immediately on the face.
So one of the things is with that is, let's just say I've seen a lot of contactless offers from like restaurants going on right now. I even saw an ad with Tim Hortons where they're, giving coffee or anything for the frontline people. So how does that work with those items where, you're supposed to consume it immediately, and based on the TV ad, the people are just consuming it right away. So is there anything around that? Even though it says contactless, there's definitely some contact there.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about how long certain things live on certain surfaces.
So one of the things is, so what you would recommend, is it like, because I've seen some videos, like you should disinfect it, wipe it, and do all that stuff?
Like your Tim Hortons cup?
Coffee cup, yeah.
Well, you don't need to disinfect your paper cup from Tim Hortons. If you're using a reusable cup, just like you would wash your mugs and dishes and things at home, make sure you're washing it regularly and washing it properly. And if it can go in the dishwasher, put it in the dishwasher, because the dishwasher can use hotter water than our hands can tolerate typically. So continue to wash things.
Is actually something good. So maybe share more about why hot water is important. Because from my understanding is, at least I didn't know that the temperature of the water would matter.
Yeah, because germs, especially bacteria, tend to grow really well in warm, moist environments. But there are certain temperatures that kill certain things, and each virus or bacteria would have its own temperature that would max out on, that could kill it. And also in terms of a low temperature. So in terms of restaurants and things like that, as long as they're following the proper food safety protocols, then you can be confident that the things that you're eating are safe to consume. And if you're getting takeout, you're not using your own utensils at home.
Yeah.
Then they provide you with the utensils that come inside the plastic.
Yeah.
So they're taking steps to make sure that you're not sharing things around in single serve containers and things like that.
Yeah.
So it prevents sharing from the same thing.
Okay. So one of the things that you shared that was very interesting was about the temperature of the water. That's one thing. But the other thing is, what about if you were to get takeout or anything like that? I mean, like, what do the hospitals, what have they been doing? I'm curious to find out, because I'm pretty sure they probably have a lot of takeouts as well there.
Yeah, well, at least the hospital that I'm in right now, most of the food service areas have been closed, and to allow people to practice physical distancing, a lot of the tables and chairs have been removed from common areas. And there are definitely restrictions for bringing in takeout.
Oh,
so
really?
There are rules in terms of food deliveries and how it needs to be delivered, and in some cases it might need to be pre-approved in order to bring it in, to make sure that the procedures and protocols are being followed.
So what about the morale at the hospital? Is it really tense in there, or are the people doing their best to keep themselves happy? Like, what's your experience of the workers there? Are they, first of all, I think, I'm not sure about this, is the second question is, like, have they been working like really long hours as well?
Yeah, well, it depends. I think it depends on who it is and what their job is. And just like you might see out and about, some people are really anxious. Some people are more anxious than normal. They're not typically anxious people, but this has made them feel anxious and maybe picking up on anxiety of other people. And some people are like, it is what it is, and we'll do our best and we'll get through it together. And then there are people like me and this lady that I was in line with at the coffee shop in the hospital, and they had these red dots on the floor to tell you where to stand to wait in line. So I made a game of it. I said, I'm going to see if I can jump from one dot to the next. And this other lady picked up on what I was doing. A couple ladies behind me were laughing at me. And the lady in front, when the line moved, she was twirling to the next dot.
So
while I was jumping.
That's a super creative way, and actually, which falls down into how you're conducting your trainings as well. So probably people are tense. People typically may not be as, most people, I would guess, aren't super excited. Like, oh, I'm getting health and safety training, how to fit a mask, and how to do this respiratory thing. So what have you incorporated to make the experience a lot more pleasant?
Well, I can only go a few minutes without making a joke. So I make jokes, or I pick up on what that person is saying and make appropriate jokes. I don't want to be insensitive or things like that. So making appropriate jokes and smiling and making a game out of something, like, oh man, I gotta stand in line and I'll have to stand on these stupid dots, or make a game out of it. And sometimes I do these things in training, not just to entertain the people that I'm training, but also to entertain myself. And the idea behind that is that if I'm having a good time and like, this is great, oh, this information is so great, and it's fun to learn it, and they pick up on that and they have a good time with it and learn what they're supposed to learn, and then they go out and tell their coworkers, go get your fist testing done and do it while Kathryn is there, that girl is there. They probably don't remember my name, but anyway, and it'll be fine. It'll be good.
I think one of the things is they probably have so much fun that they forget your name, but they remember who you are. They probably remember who you are. So I think that's one of the unique ways that you make sure that people are being trained. And one of the things is when it comes to health and safety, a lot of it, based on what I've heard, has been very boring. So I'm glad that you were able to incorporate humor every 2 minutes or so. And believe it or not, that's actually one of the best ways for people to learn. So we're just about to conclude our final interview series here. Was there any questions that I didn't get to ask that you would love to have me ask you?
Oh boy, that's the toughest question you've asked me so far. What would I want to tell people? Well, you know what? I would say safety doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be boring either. Safety can be fun and interesting, and not just for geeks like me, but for people, what they need to learn to stay safe on the job. And safety can be, and often is, very practical. At first glance, it might look like it's complicated, but once we get down to it, information, what do we need to know? What do we need to tell people? What do they need to learn? Then it can actually be very straightforward, and also by taking a practical perspective.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much, Kathryn. And I know one of the things, like, as we conclude this interview series with her, and there's still lots of questions that haven't been answered. So what she did is she created a document for you with the top things you probably want to be aware of, especially if you have employees working still going through this COVID, or they're still want to know certain safety things that's really particular to them. And one of the best ways to get it is just by commenting. And then Kathryn, you'll make sure you get the resource to them.
Yeah, for sure. Contact me directly, leave me a comment, and I'll make sure you get that resource and you get your questions answered.
Yeah, awesome. So I want to thank you, Kathryn, and thanking all the viewers for taking the time to educate yourself. Make sure you stay safe. And of course, Kathryn will do her best to assist you in any way, shape, or form she can, whilst being super busy at the hospital as well. So have yourself a great day, evening, or night, wherever you're from, and we'll catch you in the next series. Thank you again, Kathryn.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Satya.